Good morning, adventurers! Well, late morning. We're on campground time. Rules don't apply here when dealing with times of day. We are here at Gardner Lake in Salem, Connecticut. We are actually staying at my dad's campground, his camper trailer, which is privately owned. A lot of the places around here are privately owned. However, he did say that some of them rent out regularly, and this is just one of, I think, 3 or 4 different campgrounds around this lake. So if you're interested in coming to have kind of a nice, relaxing campground experience without actually pitching a tent, there are places around that you can rent. So what we're doing, this is pretty much the only day where I have nothing planned. I'm all by myself. We come up here mostly to visit with family, so I haven't really done any videotaping because it's all just like family stuff. But today we're doing a video. What we're going to do is maybe I'll take you around the campground, or at least out to the lake area. I don't really want to videotape private properties. But we'll go out to the lake and the recreation area and let you see that and get a look at the lake. And then what I think we're going to do is I'm going to grab the kayak and we're going to take a kayak around the lake. And seeing as how it's late morning, almost noonish, I think probably what I'll do is I'll pack a lunch and do lunch out on the kayak as I'm paddling around. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I don't really have any structure for today. By the way, because I've been getting into the coffee thing a lot, I brought some beans with me. These are not like local roasted anything. This is basically I was running low, I was short on time, and I ran to Walmart and this is the Walmart brand of whole bean coffee. And I don't want to say it's good because it's not good, but I guess it's no worse than any of the other coffee I was drinking before I started grinding my own. It's just not. It was cheap. It was $5 for a 12-ounce bag, which is extremely cheap for, you know, in terms of like good coffee. And I wanted to compare what a cheap coffee from like Walmart would be compared to the fresh roasted stuff that I've been buying from local roasters. And I did look at the package, and it said that the expiration date was, I think it said July of next year. So, assuming that they put a 1-year expiration on the coffee, I would guess that maybe it was recently roasted within the last month or 2, maybe. But I don't know, because it doesn't tell you when it was roasted. It only tells you an expiration date. The other thing is Star was running low on coffee, so she went and picked up Starbucks Costa Rica whole bean. Says it's complex with a soft lemony sweetness and smooth cocoa texture. And this is listed as a medium roast. Now, interestingly enough, the medium roasts that I have been getting are definitely a lot lighter than the roasts from this or the Walmart brand. This is I would definitely call this more of a dark roast, even maybe medium dark. But the beans are extremely dark, and interestingly enough, the beans feel lighter, less dense than the beans that I get from the premium coffee roasters. So I don't know if that's a difference in where they're getting the beans or the quality of beans that they're getting, or what the deal is there, but you know, whatever the case may be, I'm definitely gonna not buy that one again. I'll definitely go back to buying the premium coffee from the local roasters. But for a quick fix, it wasn't horrible. The Walmart, the Starbucks one that Star got was better, but still not as good as the fresh roasted local brands. And the Starbucks one actually cost about the same. I think it was $10 or $11 for, what is this? This is a 9-ounce bag. So yeah, that was actually the same price, because I get a 12-ounce bag for $12 from the local roasters. So better coffee, fresher coffee than the Starbucks for the same price. So here's the recreation area. There's some horseshoes and I think shuffleboard or bocce ball or something, a little picnic area. It's not bad. And here's the lake. Really, one of the nicest things about staying here is this lake. It's a beautiful lake, and you can see a lot of people have boats and jet skis, and they're out on the water all the time. I believe there's fish here too, but you know, you have to have a fishing license to fish. And duckies on a docky. But we're gonna come out here and we're gonna kayak as far as we possibly can. This is cool. Somebody put up a little bridge for frogs, I guess. I don't know. Frogs and squirrels. And I do see kayaks and canoes over there. I wonder if you can rent from them. I'm not sure. And somebody here is making like really awesome looking bird houses. Look at those things. Those are really elaborate. Like little fairy houses almost. But there are birds. The birds that go in. That is really cool looking. And up here there's like a little party pavilion. You can rent this out for parties and stuff. And a little playground. And it's not bad. They actually just updated a lot of the playground stuff, so some of this is pretty new. Basketball courts and a volleyball. During the summer, they haven't done it in a while because of COVID, but before COVID, what they were doing is they'd have a band here, a live band every weekend, every Saturday or something, and they do a barbecue, and you buy you buy tickets to it, or you just sit in your own camper and hear the music from the campground because they're pretty loud. But that was always a lot of fun, and some nice entertainment. Like I said, I don't really want to film people's private residence here, but there's a lot of really nice trailers in this campground. What you'll find is a lot of these people are actually from Florida. They come up here during the winter. They're retired and they have dual residency. They live here in the winter and then they go back down to Florida. Or no, sorry, they live up here in the summer and then they go back down to Florida in the winter. So there's some people who are here half the year and they basically live in it. It's their house. And there's even a little general store up here. You can buy ice cream, I think, and marshmallows, and a little camping stuff that you might need. Okay, so I've packed myself up a little lunch here. I got a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. I don't have a cooler, so I had to kind of think of stuff that, wouldn't mind a little bit of not unrefrigeration. A little bag of chips, and I got some cubed up watermelon. And that will be, I'll bring some waters and a vitamin water, and that'll be my lunch, and we're gonna go do that out on the kayak. Alright, hopefully I got the camera pointed in the right direction, and we're videotaping now. But we're gonna go and see how far we can get. There's some paddle boarders. That seems to take a extraordinary feat of balance. Not something that I would easily be able to do. Not that kayaking doesn't require a certain level of balance too, although these kayaks, this one I'm in, is fairly wide. I mean, we're not talking about a whitewater kayak. So, you know, it is a bit more stable. A bit windy out today, but most part extremely pleasant. I'm not hot at all. This morning was actually kind of cold for me. I was wearing a sweater, so not exactly sure what I'm going to videotape along the way. There's not a whole lot to see on the lake here necessarily. There are a few like McMansions, I believe, on the other side, which might be kind of interesting. But my goal today, I have nothing planned and a few hours, and I'm going to see how far I can get. Let me untuck you here. So I've done this a couple of times, kayaking out, and honestly, that heavy area of trees over there, that's about as far as I have gotten. I have never gotten all the way around the lake before. So I think my goal, and it wasn't necessarily just because I got tired, but it was kind of because I got tired. Let's not kid ourselves. But you know, usually it's because I run out of time or we have some plans and I got to get back. But I got nothing today, so we'll see how far we can go. So here's another one of those campground areas. This one seems to be a bit more of the traditional like tent and RV camping area. A little swimming area. I tell you, I was planning to take it nice and easy, but there's actually a bit of wind out here that wasn't obvious. Like, there wasn't any wind at the camper, but now that I'm out here on the lake, there's quite a bit of wind, and of course I'm fighting the wind right now. So hopefully that doesn't wear me out too much before we get that far. Hopefully if I can get like halfway, like to the other area where I turn around and start coming back in the other direction, it'll actually work in my favor, and the second half of the kayak excursion adventure will be a nice little, I'll probably let the wind do most of the work pushing me along. Hopefully the camera is not picking up too much rubbing noise. I do have the GoPro tucked into my life vest here, so sorry if you're getting kind of a rubbing of the shirt noise through the microphone. Lots and lots and lots of little speedboats and party boats and fishing boats around this lake. There's like a set of docks all over the place, and you know, you gotta watch out. Life vests are non-optional if you're out here, because I'll tell you, these speedboats, there is no speed limit and they come flying through, and you don't want to be in their way. We actually have, the life vest that I'm wearing is an auto inflate, so it's not inflated until you hit the water and go under. And that kind of, it makes it more comfortable to wear because it's lighter, and it's safe, because if you get knocked out by a boat that rams you, you know, it'll inflate all on its own. Looks like we got some boaters up here that decided to stop for a little picnic on the wooded area. And if I'm not mistaken, this area that we're coming up to is all like state forest. Like, nobody owns it, so it's okay to come up onto the beach and park, kind of relax. It's a nice lunch spot. And it must have just been that one area that I was in where the wind was whipping through, because now it is dead calm. And the only thing rippling is the water from my boat. Very calm and peaceful over here. And you can even, the water's not very deep, and it's really clear. I don't know if the camera gets that, but you can see the bottom. It's not, you know, this is lake water, so it's not, and this is Connecticut, so not the same kind of murkiness as Florida would be. Duckies. Pretty ducks. One of them's got a nice green head. So we're coming up to a nice little marsh area. And maybe we'll see some larger, like, stork type birds, cranes. I know we see them all the time in Florida. Up here, they're not quite as prevalent. The other thing we might get to see is a swan, maybe. There are quite a few swans on, like, say, the Connecticut River. And I'm not sure if they prefer that kind of salty, brackish water, or if they would swim around in a lake or not. Well, we're getting some waves from the boat. A boat that kicked up some wake here. Ooh, getting shallow. I'm gonna bottom out. Ooh, getting close. Getting close. Yep, a little shallow over here. I don't want to beach myself. There's some Canadian geese out there. Frolicking. I don't see anything else, though. Very pretty, though. Very relaxing. So I don't know if we've come along all along the beach here. We started, I don't know if you can see the pile of boats down there, but that's where we started. And we still have all of this to go. We're maybe an eighth of the way around, I would say. Not too bad so far. I'm not feeling winded or tired at the moment, but you know, that could change pretty quickly, especially if you're not used to kayaking or boating, which I don't. Unfortunately, I wish I had a kayak or a canoe or something to paddle around in back in Florida, but I'm unfortunately only get to do this when I come to my dad's campground. There is a place down in Florida called Manatee Beach, and the whole area, there's a whole bunch of, like, mangroves, and the reason it's called Manatee Beach is because, you know, obviously there are manatees. There are all kinds of riverways that you can go through, and I believe they do allow you to rent kayaks in that area, which is really awesome and something I'd like to do one time. You know, kayak down the little waterways and see if we can see any wild manatees. I mean, we've seen the manatees at Disney in the aquarium area of Epcot, but never seen one in the wild. And I think that would be really cool. I don't know how the kids would feel about kayaking. I did bring them out one time. It was quite a few years ago, and they were very little. In fact, they were so little that one of them sat here in front of me, and the other sat behind me in the storage bin. And I paddled them around. And I think I might have gotten to about this point before they were annoying me with, I'm bored, I want to go back, when can we go swimming? And, you know, I mean, granted, they were probably like 5 years old at the time, which is not, you know, it's something I should have realized that they would not be into it quite as bad, quite as interested. But yeah, I don't know how they would feel now. I don't know how Star would feel about, like, a family canoe trip or something. But yeah, maybe something we'll have to look into. Manatee Beach, by the way, is over near Tampa on the Gulf, just south. I believe it's, I forget the name. I want to say Bedford or something along the, I think it was a B. Started with a B. I'll have to look it up on a map. Very quiet. I'm surprised I don't hear any birds chirping though. Dragonflies buzzing. Here's what I mean when I say they go flying around. Yeah, you don't want to be out in the middle of the lake on your kayak or canoe, because they might not see you. All right, so this is officially the farthest I have ever gotten in the kayak around this lake, and I honestly did not even realize that there was like a whole nother inlet over here. A couple of private docks out here too. That must be nice. Live there. Doesn't look like it's very well used, which is unfortunate. Although the decking looks new, so maybe. It's kind of neat, the birch trees kind of leaning over into the water here. Very unusual. Probably due to snow or something like bending them over, but interesting looking. So I do keep seeing signs saying private beach, no trespassing, although that's not much of a beach to protect. So I guess there is no state forest area here like I thought. I wouldn't imagine that anybody would know if you parked your kayak on that little tiny beach of a thing. But dragonflies. See, now if this was Florida, we'd be concerned. I'd be a little concerned that there might be some alligators lurking around out there, but yeah, we don't have any of that stuff here in Connecticut. Snapping turtles, maybe. I think we might have snapping turtles, but that's about the extent of our dangerous waterfowl or water animals. Man, a whole nother marsh area. I wish I could go out there. I don't know how deep it is, but there are some pretty like lily pad, lily flowers. It actually looks kind of deep here. I might try to get in there a little bit. Let's see how close we can get before we bottom out the boat. You never can tell if the grass is growing real tall or if it's just growing real close to the surface. So far, so good. Here's some water lily type stuff. Nice looking flowers. Yeah, I don't know, there's a thick carpet of something down there, and you really can't tell. I can't tell if it's deep or if it's not. We'll go out there, we'll see what happens. Worst that happens is the boat bottoms out and I gotta push it off with a paddle. Just go slow, that's all. Wish I wasn't disturbing these lilies so much. Yeah, the seaweed, or whatever you want to call it when it's in the lake here, it looks like, I don't know, hawthorn or whatever they call, whatever that aquatic stuff is that they sell for fish tanks. Kind of makes it difficult to paddle. You got to be real close to the surface here. But lots of little, really pretty little lily pad flowers blooming out here. Hopefully I have the camera angled in the right direction to pick all that up, but very cool. All right, I'm gonna get out of here because my paddle gets caught on the lilies, and I don't want to like ruin the natural beauty of it, ripping up all the flowers and whatnot. Scaring the frogs. There we go. Wow, some of the seaweed stuff that I see growing down there is really pretty. I wish I could like clip some of it and bring it back from my tank at home. Because I'll tell you, my vegetation at home is not doing great. I still have not gotten a good light for the fish tank. But some of this is like really pretty. There's like purple like stuff down here and green, and that would be really nice in the fish tank. Too bad. Guess I'm gonna have to go to the fish store and actually buy it with money rather than harvest it for free. But I guess if you live in the Northeast, you could always come out here and harvest for free. I wonder how that would work in a freshwater fish tank. Would lake plants already established work out? I mean, I know you can take cuttings from other people's fish tanks and use those, but yeah, I'm not sure how transferring from lake to fish tank would do. You know, it's kind of funny. I'm looking back, and you know, over there is where all the private beach no trespassing signs were set up, and the marsh cuts right through the center here. So I don't know why anybody, what it seems like a waste of money to buy a strip of land that you can't use just to put up no trespassing signs on. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but isn't that seems silly, right? And here we have a random tree stump sticking up out of the water. Very unusual. In case you were wondering, I don't know if you heard that familiar telephone tone texting noise of the old car horn. I did bring my cell phone out. I have it wrapped in a plastic, in a Ziploc bag, you know, just in case we go overboard here. But I did bring the phone with me, and Star just texted me. Wasn't expecting anybody to call or text. I actually brought it just in case of an emergency or something, where I got caught on the other side of the lake and couldn't get back for whatever reason, pull my arm out or something. But yeah, not a bad idea to bring. Just wrap it up. So we're heading over here to a whole section of road. I'm not sure. I've never been over here before, so I don't know if it's shallow or deep, or if we're heading into a river. I don't really want to get caught in a river current, because we're definitely not going to be paddling upriver, and we're not going to do any kind of whitewater rafting with this this kayak here, let me tell you. So I'm not entirely sure. You know what? These look like they might be spillways for the lake. So yeah, I don't want to get too close over there, but yeah, that's what that is. Those are spillways. Not doing any waterfall diving here. Let's turn this around. Zoom. Oh yeah, beautiful day. Yeah, at least it's not raining. Oh, I don't know if you probably didn't see it, but there was a fish that jumped out of the water right over there. That was kind of cool. That's something you'll notice if you come down to these little lake communities and you paddle around the lake. Everybody likes to talk, and they're all real pleasant to you. Very un-Connecticut-like, to be perfectly honest. I'm not gonna lie. Northerners are not the friendliest bunch. But when you're out on the lake, the attitude seems to be different. Everybody wants to say hi, and everybody waves at you. They have no idea if you belong here or not, but they assume that you're one of them. One of us. One of us. Whole lot of nice boats out here. So I do put Connecticut down quite a lot. And to be fair, you know, I lived here for 40 years before we moved to Florida. So, you know, I've seen most of it, and it's all old stuff to me. But despite that, Connecticut does have quite a lot of charm. And if you're looking to not do like amusement parks and a lot of really go kind of stuff, Connecticut does have a lot of quiet charm to it. A lot of spaces where you can go out and do stuff like this, kayaking. I don't know if they do it anymore, but they used to do tubing down the Farmington River. You rent a tube, and they drive you up to the top of the river, and you basically float all the way down the river, and they'll pick you up at the bottom. Or no, maybe they were stationed at the bottom, so they drive you up, and then you'd float down to their home base, and they'd pull you out of the water, and that's where your car is. There's also quite a bit of nice hiking, not like heavy hiking like you'd get in like Vermont or New Hampshire or Maine, where there's lots and lots of mountains, but there's a lot of nice forests and quiet places to go hiking. In the last time we were here, the last video I did, we hiked around Michael Dragon Park, and that's just like a little tiny local place, 1 mile trail. But if you go up to like Killingly, there's Old Furnace Park, where there's lots of nice hiking there, and it gives you a real good sampling of all the different kind of terrains of Connecticut. There's a little bit of marsh area, forested area, and I hesitate to call it a mountain, but I guess it's all relative. If you come from Florida, anything above 10 feet is a big hill. But there is some rocky area, and you can hike up. There's I would say maybe 1,000-foot cliff you can hike to the top of and get a nice view over top of the trees, and you can see quite a distance. And we won't be doing that this time, but maybe on a following trip we'll go hike Old Furnace Park, because it's pretty. As long as you're not there in the winter. I hiked there in the winter, and it's kind of, just like the rest of New England, it's kind of cold and drab with all the leaves off the trees. But this time of year, it's really nice. And if you go in like early fall, when the leaves start changing color, it can be a nice hike. Maybe someday I'd like to bring the kids up camping in Maine, because I used to go to Acadia National Park in Maine quite often with my parents, my father, and we'd camp over there, and that is a beautiful place to go hiking. Go hike up all the mountains there, many hiking trails. There's even an old historical hiking spot on Jordan Pond, and there's the Jordan Pond or Jordan Lake House. And way back in like whenever the Victorian period was, when they all dressed up in like fancy gowns and big foofy hats, and they go down there on Sundays, and the trail was all like graveled and flattened out, but the people would go down and walk around the lake, and then they'd come back to the Jordan Lake House and sip cappuccinos, and it's a lot of fun. If you want a hike that's not too difficult and has a reward at the end, it's a nice, a very nice hike. And then, of course, you have your bigger mountain hikes and some extreme. They call them technical climbing trails, where you're basically climbing up the flat face of the mountain, and there's nothing but like metal rungs anchored into the stone wall to hold on to, which I did a couple times as a kid. I don't know if I would be brave enough to do it now. I guess the dog did not care for the fact that I was boating on his lake. I would guess that at the moment we are probably little less than halfway. So if you look over there, that clump of boats in the distance, that is where we started. We came all the way around. I would say we're almost half, and then we'll see where we decide to stop to eat the lunch that I packed up. You know, I thought once I turned around and started heading in the other direction, I would have the wind at my back. But of course, that is not the case. I don't know, the wind must have changed directions on me. And now it's kind of blowing in from the side here, pushing me towards shore. Not much help in the traveling department, though. But I'm thinking this looks like a fairly quiet area to stop and have some lunch. Hopefully the wind doesn't blow me around too much. Like to try and stay as stationary as possible. Now I stuck my lunch here behind me and behind the seat. Let's see if I can pull it out without tipping the entire boat over. Ow. Probably not. I might have to just reach in and pull out one piece at a time. Haha, success. I got it. One piece at a time. And my peanut butter and jelly sandwich appears to have made the trip undamaged. Not bad for a little lake lunch here. The one thing I am a little disappointed about is I forgot to take my sunglasses out of the car before Star took off this morning with the kids. And I mean, I got my hat on, which is protecting me from the sun coming down, but I have a feeling at some point I'm going to start getting a bit of a glare off of the water. So that was a tasty lunch. I actually ended up not eating much of the watermelon. I was getting a little full. I don't want to end up giving myself cramps trying to paddle here. Don't want to eat too heavy. Here's another little campground area, and this is on the exact opposite from where we started almost, but all about the same. A lot of little motorhome type camping stuff, and each campground has their own little sectioned off beach area for swimming where the boats can't go into. We went swimming, and the water is a little cold compared to what I'm used to down in Florida, but otherwise very very nice. And it's kind of funny because there's lots of little fishes. I don't know if I would even call them little. I don't know, maybe the size of like a tang, a blue tang, if you know, like dory. They're probably about that size. They're not tangs, but I don't know what they are. But that's about the size of them here. And they were following us around the entire swimming area like I was their leader. And I don't know if it was because I was kicking up stuff from the sand and they were having themselves a nice little snack in behind me, but or maybe they just thought I was a bigger fish and I would protect them from all the from anything else. But every once in a while, one of them would like take a nip at me. I don't know if they thought the hairs on my leg were worms or something to eat, but it was kind of funny. It didn't hurt. They don't have any teeth. Not like some of the fish down south will take a big chunk out of your leg. But no, these it was just like a little kind of suck. So my best guess is that we are now halfway around the lake. So there's the campground that we started at, and we made it all the way around. Hello, Mr. Dragonfly. resting on my boat. That's cool. So I'm actually feeling quite accomplished here. I have never made it this far. I've never kayaked for this long. Of course, now I'm committed, because there's no quick way back, unless you cut across the middle of the lake, which just would not be safe. But, you know, I'm feeling pretty good still. It's interesting. It looks like a kind of a church up there. A church with its own beach. That's nice. Wouldn't mind belonging to that church. A lot of people out swimming today. I'll tell you, I think once I'm done with my kayak, I'm already in my swimsuit, and the bottom half of me is a little wet from the drippings from the paddle. I might just take a walk down to the lake and go for a swim after I'm done kayaking. Not a bad way to spend the day, huh? Rocks ahead, Captain! So it's kind of fun to see the differences in landscape between here and Florida. Like, these big giant granite boulders just line the shorelines here, whereas down in Florida they don't have any of that. There's no big rocks. If you ever see anything like that, it's usually like a big chunk of coral that they dug up out of the ocean and placed on the shoreline. Or if it is actual rock, it was imported from the Northeast. Like if you go stay at Saratoga Springs, which is supposed to be like New York, there are these granite boulders that they imported to Florida for the decoration. But here it's just lining the shorelines, just sitting there. All that's natural. So I just think it's kind of cool. And I know it's not mountains, but you know, the hillsides, the terrain is kind of, you know, up and down, and it's very different. Let's put it that way. So I gotta say, we've been going around the lake, and all I've really seen mostly is campsites, campgrounds. I thought there were a bunch of like big houses like this one. Here's a big house around the lake. I kind of thought there would be something more elaborate, but I have yet to see anything like really nice. I know that, or at least he used to, the owner of Bob's Discount Furniture, which if you're not from the Northeast, you probably have no idea who I'm talking about, but he owns a house somewhere on this lake, and he owns a very large furniture store down here. And one year we actually came out and he sponsored some fireworks out on the lake, and we got to sit on the beach and watch some fireworks. I think they were Gucci fireworks, if I'm not mistaken, which was really cool, kind of like a private showing for everybody around the lake. I don't know if he's ever done it again. We are getting into some of the more private home areas here now that we're I don't know, halfway. So maybe we'll start seeing some nice places. A couple little nice beach cottages there. This is kind of cool. This person got their very own boat lift to take it up out of the water. Very interesting. There's some people fishing. Kind of a lazy fishing day for them. And another trailer campground area. I gotta say, so far I think that the campground that we're at has the nicest beach area out of all of them. There is this island out here in the middle of the lake too, which I gotta say I've never noticed before, because it's probably around the corner for us, but that's kind of cool. I wonder if anybody comes out there and explores, or if that's all private property too. Although I don't know who would go living on a island in the middle of the lake. I'm sure some people do it though. So here's a couple of really nice houses.
I gotta say, if I had to guess as to which one the owner of the Bob's Discount Furniture was, I would say it was one of these two. So far, these are the nicest houses that I've seen. And there goes one of the jet skiers flying around. There's actually not, you know what, because it's not a weekend, I would say there's probably not as much activity going on in the lake, but you come out here on a weekend and whoo, there's a lot of them. Yeah, you gotta watch out. Here's an interesting bird. I was under the impression those were only down in Florida, but I guess not. So now we are on the far side of the lake, and it always feels like the wind is fighting against me. I don't know what is going on, but it's actually quite choppy over here. I think the wind has come across the lake and it's had time to make some waves, but it's making the boat quite unsteady. I would say if there's any chance that I'm going to get tipped and dumped, this is probably the spot. I can't even blame it on the boats because there really aren't that many out here now. Now over here we have, this is all public beach area. You don't have to own a camper. It's not, you know, you come down, you park, and you can swim in the lake. So if you're camping somewhere off-site or somewhere else and you want to come down to Gardner Lake, you can do it here. There's also a public boat launch over there if you want to bring your kayaks and launch them from there. There's another nice house up there. A couple of them, two nice houses. And one little one. I wonder if that's a guest house for one of the bigger ones here. Well, I think that we are in the home stretch here. I would say, my guess is that we're about 3/4 of the way. We're about to start make our turn back to the same shoreline that the campground is on. And whew, I'll tell you, my arms are getting a little tired. So this was a very nice workout and a pretty little excursion. I'm glad that the lake is not bigger, because I definitely would not have been able to do much more than what we're going to do today. I'm sure that if I had a kayak and I was out regularly, it would be no problem at all. But whew, I'm getting tired. And here comes a jet ski flying by us. Wow, she doesn't even look like she had clothes. She looks like she had regular clothes on, not even a swimsuit. She must be pretty confident about not taking a dive. Random rock sticking up out of the water. Right over there on the shoreline is a blue herring. I'll see if I can zoom. Oh, he's flying away. Maybe you can see that. But those are the cranes that we see those all the time down in Florida. I don't know if they're migratory birds necessarily, but we have a lot of cranes. We have a lot of different kinds, but we see the blue herrings all the time. Oh, look at this sneaky rock here. Just barely poking out of the surface. I don't know. I don't think those party barges are really meant for towing people behind. Looks like they're having fun though, no matter what. Oh, so here is the biggest house I've seen so far. It doesn't look very big from the front, but it goes back quite a ways. That's, holy cow. I don't know if you can see it, but right over there on the right-hand side, there is a waterfall. They got their own private waterfall feature. That is neat. We are almost there. Hallelujah, because my arms are killing me. Oh my gosh, this was such a workout, but totally worth it. And my back hurts. I don't know exactly what muscles you typically use to kayak with, or if it's just because I've been sitting in the same position for, I don't even know what time it is, but I'll bet it's taken me about 2 hours. So I don't know. But yeah, my arms hurt now. I'm thinking, and you know what, honestly, I look a little bit my arms are a bit sunburned Probably should have worn some sunscreen. Stupid! But, well, there is the campground. There's our beach. That's where I'm heading after this. A little cool down. I think my parents have gotten to the campsite, to their campsite. And they're probably hanging around the porch waiting to see me. So, all in all, I think this is a pretty good trip. I didn't tip the canoe. I didn't get all wet. I had a nice lunch, nice time, good workout. And that will be all for today. Thanks for watching. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. Now it's your turn. Come on down. Join the adventure, and I'll see you next time.